Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are taking a look at Week 3 in the CFL right now with David Schwab. We cover the CFL every week, and last week in Week 2, David and I had a much better week than we did in Week 1. The one play we agreed on was Edmonton -3. Dave, thanks for being back with us.
Oh, good to be back here.
All right. I have two picks that I think I'm liking here. We'll see what you have to say about it, and then we'll hear what you like from the slate of games for Week 3. The first one I'm thinking about is, let's start with Calgary and Toronto, right? Calgary's off of the bye week. It is a very bad thing that the running back, John Cornish, has a concussion. Is he going to play? I've been reading that he's questionable. I'm guessing that he's going to be out. But even if he's out, I'm thinking that Calgary bounces back here off the bye week, and that Toronto lets down a little bit from their big explosive game in Week 2. Calgary, we know, their offensive, defensive lines are very good, and if they have an extra week to prepare and rest up, I think that gives them an edge. I'll take Calgary plus 1.5. And then I'm also thinking Winnipeg and Montreal. Total's 50.5. I'm leaning towards the over here. I know Winnipeg has a very complex defense, but Smith, the quarterback from Montreal, improved in Week 2 as I thought he would. I think both teams probably get into the 20s here. 50.5, relatively low total. I'll take the over. What do you think of those two picks, David Schwab?
Starting with Calgary and Toronto. I kind of look. I think that Calgary looked pretty sharp in that opener, and I know the loss at the running back could be a hindrance, but I do like them. I do like them in that situation. Looking at the Winnipeg and Montreal, you had that one going. We had that one going over, Peter. I didn't make a play with a total line on that game, but I would definitely lean that way. I think Winnipeg. They already racked up 81 points in 2 games, so they're definitely a new look offense than they were last year. And Montreal, I think moved in the right direction as well. They kind of came out flat in that opener, and then last week they showed that maybe Troy Smith at quarterback that they may have something there. So I would lean towards the over in that one as well.
All right, so you endorse both of my selections this week. That's good to hear. David Schwab, what are your picks for this week?
Okay, going back with the same 2 games, starting with the Winnipeg Montreal game. For a lot of reasons, I like the over. I also like this to be a fairly high-scoring game, which should keep Winnipeg in the game. I know I've seen the opening line anywhere from Montreal giving 3, all the way down to maybe 2.5 or even 1. But I'm going to go with Winnipeg and the points. I also like some of the betting lines, betting trends in this series. Winnipeg has had some success in Montreal. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 visits there, and they also you look at them on the last 5 meetings overall. You got to remember Winnipeg only won 3 games last year. 2 of them were against Montreal, so the Bombers are 4-1 both straight up and against the spread in the last 5 meetings. So I'm going to my first pick this week is going to be Winnipeg. Plus the 3 points on the road against Montreal. Now, turning to the Calgary-Toronto game, this is one where I gravitated towards the total line. Both these teams look pretty good. I mean, Calgary only played the 1 game. They looked pretty good in that opening week, and Toronto really bounced back after kind of embarrassing themselves on opening day. I like what Ricky Ray did at quarterback. He threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. So I see some points being scored in this game. So I'm going to go with the over. I know the over line has been creeping up, but I'm still going to stick with my pick on the over. And I'm looking at, I think that the total has gone over in 4 of the last 5 meetings that have been played in Toronto. So I'm going to kind of ride that trend as my second pick.
All right, well, for the purposes of this video, we have to give you the lines that are out now. So right now, the market-wide line on the Winnipeg game is Winnipeg plus 2.5, and Calgary-Toronto, the total, it's 54 right now. It opened at 52.5 is what I saw. All right, David Schwab, we'll see how you do this week, and then the other 2 games, let's just touch on them very quickly. I know the Ottawa and Edmonton game isn't up at Pinnacle right now, but I have seen Ottawa plus 7 at some places, and I have a sense that Ottawa might surprise surprise here a little bit. Edmonton probably wins, but if I had to make a bet on that one, I would take Ottawa at +7. And then the other game, the BC and Saskatchewan game, that's a tricky one. I don't think and that's no surprise that both of us chose to stay off of that one. You got to figure that both these teams are going to bounce back here. Who's going to bounce back more? I mean, clearly BC has a lot more to bounce back from. Their offensive line is just looking an absolute shambles. Then again, they're a team with pride, a quality organization. Getting 6.5 points in sort of a, desperate situation for them is always something that I'm looking at betting on. I guess I'd lean towards the under there at 48.5, but, do you have any sense of either of those games if you had to bet them?
Yeah, that's right. That's why I did go with the other two. Ottawa's still a pretty unknown entity.
Yeah.
They played pretty well last week, and they didn't cover, but they're getting 7, and that's why I stayed away from that game until I get a little bit more tape on Ottawa. Edmonton's off to a strong start, but they're still 7 points. That could be a pretty wide spread there. And I would agree with you on the BC Saskatchewan game. I would lean toward the under in that game as well. BC is they're better than they've looked. Saskatchewan kind of back and forth the first 2 weeks, so I'm a little leery on that spread, but I do think that if both teams show up, their defense could show up first and keep that game under that 48.5.
All right, David Schwab, thanks so much for your thoughts once again this week. Again, my two official picks: Calgary +1.5 and Winnipeg Montreal over 50.5. And David Schwab's two picks: Winnipeg +2.5 and Calgary Toronto over 54. Thanks so much, Dave. We'll talk again for week 4.